Welcome to our broadcast, Closing the SaaS Protection Gap, brought to you by SaaSAssure. I'm your host, Kenna Johnson from the Channel Company. Today we're going to learn why SaaS data is more at risk than ever before, and how SaaSAssure can help MSPs easily back up, recover, and protect SaaS services. To discuss this further, I'm joined by Stephen Thomas from SaaSAssure and Jay McBain from Canalys. Welcome, Stephen and Jay.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with segment one, the intersection of two powerful industries, SaaS and MSPs. How has the adoption of SaaS grown across businesses of all sizes?
Well, SaaS continues to grow as an industry. We've watched it for 25 years, outgrow every other software category. And still last year, it grew another 25%. We're expecting the same 20 to 30% growth rates, at least over the next 5 years, if not longer. Meets the new millennial age buyer that's coming into the majority in 2024, the subscription and consumption models of software, and all the other trends that we see. So $278 billion we're expecting in 2024, and extremely strong growth rates in every line of business as they work out their different tech stacks, and over 200,000 SaaS companies, competing for a spot at that table.
Now, Jay, why is SaaS not typically included in outsourced technology?
There's one interesting thing if you look back in the history of SaaS, that 75% of SaaS is bought outside of IT. It is usually line of business leaders, heads of sales, heads of marketing, and HR, and CX, and product, and other places, finance, that are looking to solve problems. A lot of SaaS started as either product-led growth or what we used to call shadow IT or rogue IT. So a lot of times it started outside of IT on purpose. Rogue buyers out buying, but SaaS is absolutely mainstream, and it absolutely should be part of every managed service provider and obviously every IT department's purview to add value and to obviously work with the business leaders.
Jay, why has this caused a need for IT to be pulled back into the fold?
Well, IT provides a lot of different opportunities to help business leaders as they build out these critical tech stacks. SaaS is becoming core to every line of business, but it's also becoming core to the future. Things like generative AI and data lakes, and how we're going to be using this business data, which elevates the risk, elevates the opportunities, though, to look at compliance, to look at governance, to look at security, to look at data backup, disaster recovery. All these things are kind of federal government level conversations because it's not with a singular line of business. MarTech, for example, a CMO, has 13,080 pieces of software that they can piece together in a MarTech stack. It's not to a CMO to think how to secure that, how to approach zero trust or SASE, how to back up that data, how to protect the data, and how that extends beyond the organization. So we're not asking the CMO to be a CIO, but we can partner with that CMO to make sure that there's a larger view of this and a set of governance for the entire organization that IT can lead.
And what type of business opportunities has SaaS opened for MSPs?
Over the last 25 years, there's been a kind of a little bit of a line between the line of business buyers who have bought 75% of SaaS and MSPs who have really worked in IT and locking down a lot of the IT challenges in an organization. And because of that separation, there's an instant opportunity here to add value. And not to go and resell SaaS or to jump on board in terms of what a traditional type of vendor reseller relationship might look like, but it's to add the services. Today, we know that there's almost $6 for every dollar of SaaS that's available to MSPs around consulting and design and architecture and implementation and integration. But the nearest term opportunity is around that security, around that governance, the backup, the disaster recovery, all these pieces that are absolutely critical and where customers are behind today. This is a near-term 2024 opportunity for MSPs to get on top of.
That brings us to segment two, SaaSAssure, one platform to protect SaaS data from cyber threats. Stephen, what is SaaSAssure?
Simply put, Kenna, SaaSAssure is a data protection platform for your diverse SaaS footprint. And if you think about what Jay just had to say with regards to the MSP opportunity that exists with SaaS, really what we think of SaaSAssure as an enabler for those MSPs to participate or begin to have a conversation with their customers about better management of their SaaS applications through using a platform like SaaSAssure.
And why is SaaSAssure a better choice for MSPs as opposed to other options in the market?
There's always the competitive conversation, but let's just start with the basics of what SaaSAssure does really well for both our partners and then their customers. And that is, first and foremost, it's a multi-tenant platform that gives you a single pane of glass to manage the entire set of SaaS applications your customers are operating. It's got the broadest and most diverse set of applications that are supported by a SaaS data protection platform. The setup inside of SaaSAssure is extraordinarily simple. And again, if I will refer back to kind of Jay's opportunity, we don't have time as MSPs and teams that work with MSPs to go train on 36 different tools. So really what SaaSAssure does is delivers that data protection in a very simplistic, set it and forget it model that's highly secure and that also delivers very flexible storage options for that data for our partners and their customers. That's what SaaSAssure is, Kenna.
How does SaaSAssure solve those problems and help MSPs quickly recover their customers' data?
SaaSAssure is a pretty simple platform, and what we use is the concept of a AWS service that allows you to capture the data inside of those SaaS applications through what we call a connector. And we have this concept of a connector factory, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But it's those connectors that allow us to capture the data that's sitting inside of those SaaS applications and store that in a secure location. Today, we use S3 compatible storage. So again, whether that would be in your own storage location or in the Asigre cloud, you can use either or. And that recovery piece is really very simplistic as well. Just as we talked about initiating a backup being set in and forget it and very simple, the recovery component is much the same, allowing you to target what you want to recover, how, where, and when. So again, a really simplified application to allow MSPs to not only demonstrate the ability to back up that data, but also simplistically recover that data when their customers require it.
Considering the business continuity requirements of certain compliance frameworks, how are MSPs able to deliver against those requirements with SaaSAssure?
And I tie back again a little to Jay's earlier commentary about the opportunity that MSPs have in front of them now. And we see a lot of our leading MSPs beginning to get in that data governance component with regards to those SaaS applications. So again, looking at things like policy drift, and what SaaSAssure allows you to do is really deliver against that core business continuity compliance requirement. That is, whether we're talking about HIPAA, PIPEDA, ISO 27001, or any other compliance framework, giving you as the MSP a simple way that you can make sure that your customers' data is protected and they have business continuity available to them for that data is critical. And I'll give you an example. If we look at some of the current healthcare situations, some of the attacks that are ongoing, if a platform is not available to you, again, how would you gain access to that data? How would you possibly migrate from one platform to the other? And again, these are the use cases that SaaSAssure can help deliver against for those organizations, again, here MSPs, that need to provide that data protection or business continuity and DR planning for their customers.
SaaS is being adapted at a very rapid pace. What is the long-term evolution strategy for SaaSAssure?
You heard me earlier talk about the concept of the connector, and that's really the beginning of our journey. And the reason the platform is named SaaSAssure, again, is to enable our partners to begin their journey around broadly SaaS management and SaaS data protection. And I'd call out here, we built a relationship with the Aubik team to help us around the discovery of those SaaS applications and helping our MSP partners identify what's in that environment from a SaaS application perspective. And again, with our connector factory, we're able to deliver new connectors, whether it's for new SaaS applications. We've got particular partners that exist in healthcare and other verticals that use unique SaaS applications. And again, we're excited about building a journey for those partners to deliver data protection for multiple platforms, not just the 23 platforms we expect to go to market with today.
That brings us to segment 3, grow your business with SaaSAssure. How does SaaSAssure help MSPs stand out from the competition?
Kenna, that's a great question. Really, we see this again and reflect again upon Jay's earlier answers is an expansion or a next step in that MSP journey. So as MSPs bridge beyond what is classical ticketing management and maybe some of even the core basic use cases of Microsoft 365, we want to help those partners step into that new world of other SaaS applications, whether that's Salesforce, HubSpot, Jira, and really expand that opportunity. And I'd remind all of the MSPs out there, again, if you're not delivering services associated with those platforms, there's someone else delivering those services for your customer. And frankly, that creates risk. And so again, introducing a platform like SaaSAssure enables the MSPs to go engage in that conversation around those secondary SaaS applications. The second answer around the revenue opportunity is really that growing your revenue on a per user basis. This is a fairly simplistic approach with a problem that's well-defined, business continuity for SaaS data, that gives you the opportunity to go expand your revenue opportunity in a fairly straightforward and simplistic way. The third reason is, again, moving towards where the market is going. And as we look at SaaS applications becoming, from an adoption standpoint, faster and faster, right? They're getting adopted, they're being leveraged for new use cases every day. And if the MSP isn't there to go answer that question for their customer, again, someone else is. And what we want to do is give that confidence in that line of business expansion or share of wallet expansion inside of that customer opportunity. And finally, as we all know in the MSP and backup and DR community, backup is sticky. And so what we want to do is deliver a platform for what are a number of cloud-first companies that also helps an MSP reduce churn in their customer base by delivering what is a fairly sticky use case for those customers. Now, Jay, one of the things that I know you've been out in the market with a number of MSPs, maybe you can highlight some of the things that you're seeing out there in the marketplace today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things they're asking for is, how do I cross over and go meet some of the line of business leaders, the CMO, the CFO? How do I go meet the CX leader? And how do I meet the operations leader? So how do I get into that line of business? And, am I going to be competing with a digital agency in front of the marketing leader? Am I going to be competing with an accounting and CPA firm in front of the CFO? The answer is no. It's multi-party, it's multi-partner. Those business buyers, especially, kind of the younger majority that's coming up, see partnering as a team sport. So while the digital agency might be there, you're going to be partnering up in that conversation as well. And the tip of the spear is what we're experts in: protecting our customers, security, backup, disaster recovery. I see this as the tip of the spear to start those conversations. It's not competitive with the other people sitting around the table, and it helps boost that business leader and adds value almost immediately. So how do you get into that line of business? How do you get into that 20 to 30% spend in your clients already that you might be missing? I think this is a really good solution to go and do that with.
And Jay, just as a follow-on to that, I think you hit it earlier. We're talking about security, data governance, all of those core use cases. This is an opportunity for MSPs, whether, again, it's just having the conversation about the SaaS applications outside of M365, Google Workspace, or a Salesforce. That's really what I think Kenna and Jay, we're all excited about, is really opening that door for those MSPs. And again, it's data protection, it's security, it's, governance. It's all of those core use cases that MSPs should be taking advantage of and leading with to demonstrate that capability for their customers.
A lot of great information. Where can we learn more?
For anyone who's interested, you can always go to SaaSassure.com, find out information. You'll find out detail around the different SaaS applications that are being serviced by SaaSAssure. You can also look at things like terms of service for those different SaaS applications and the risk that may be associated with that particular application that your customer may or may not be using. So again, take it, go out to SaaSassure.com, check it out, and we look forward to engaging with you moving forward.
Stephen and Jay, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you at home for watching. For the Channel Company, I'm Kenna Johnson.